Welcome to Global Beehive Talk, and today we have the pleasure of having Anna Eriksson, the Director General of DIG, the Swedish Digitalization Agency here. Welcome so much to Global Beehive Talk.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. You are the Director General of DIG. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and the DIG organization?
Yes, DIG, the Agency for Digital Government, has been running now for 2 years.
Yes.
It's still quite a young agency. Our goal is to, what we're doing is to support and coordinate the public sector digitalization in Sweden. I have a background myself from working with digitalization, or you could say with how can technology create value for people. I've been working 10 years or now 12 years then within the public sector, and before that in the private sector, working both with in the 90s with GSM phones and the networks, and with intelligent homes 20 years ago, when we were talking about having a fridge with a tablet on it, and so on. So in different ways, seeing how can we create value for people using technology.
That's very, very interesting. I hope that the freezers with the tablets are coming back. I think that would be excellent innovation. When it comes to digitalization, how do you view that from a more public sector perspective? What does it actually mean?
I think it means making life easier for people in contact with the public sector in different ways. So our goal, we are working both with municipalities, local government, and national government agencies. So making all these perspectives of public sector and government, making it easier for people, making it more open and transparent, and of course also making the public sector more efficient and effective.
Do you think that the citizens' expectations on these agencies and municipalities has changed during the last 10, 15 years, and in what way?
I definitely think so, and I think they're going to change much more in the future. I spoke with an insurance company a year ago. We were talking about digital signatures and possibilities with digital signatures, and they said that they experienced the new customers that they have for child insurance, that is people in their 20s. When they want to buy insurance for their children, they still get home paper that they have to sign, which for me, being in my 50s, seems quite natural. I get home a paper, I sign it on paper, and I send it back. But for them in their 20s, they don't trust that. They don't trust the physical signatures on paper. They think that the digital signatures would be much more trustworthy. So the expectations are already there to use digital tools to create a much more safe and trustworthy society.
But what is the expectation of citizens when it comes to the meeting with local municipalities and agencies? What do they want? What is their what's driving them?
That depends very much on your situation in life, I'd say, and perhaps that is the big difficulty, that depending on your situation in life, there are so many ways to contact the public authorities, or you need as a citizen to keep track yourself on whom to contact next, this agency or the municipality or the hospital and so on. And I think that one expectation is to make that much easier, and perhaps not needing to get in contact at all, but perhaps wait for that they will contact you instead. So I think that a more proactive and more automatic services are expectations, or will be expectations as time goes.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think that the companies itself are driving them very much about expectations, where comparing like banks with Facebook and Google, and expecting that kind of services. And I think that probably trickles down to the public sector as well.
I think so too, and I mean, getting in contact with the public sector. I mean, the concept of post, for example, digital post is not difficult for younger citizens, but the concept of getting something in the post, even though it's digital or physical, that's a bit strange, because that's not the way you communicate nowadays
Yeah.
when you are using different social media. So the way of communicating with the citizen is changing, definitely.
Mm. If we look at the digital agencies and government departments on, what do you think is the current level of maturity in those areas?
Well, I think obviously that Sweden as a whole is quite mature in this, and we have a quite mature citizens as well. But what we do not, I mean, what we see if we look more in detail is that it's very uneven. I mean, there are smaller municipalities and perhaps further away from the big cities that are not at all as digital mature as some other municipalities, and the same goes for national agencies as well. So it's very uneven. I think that is a problem that we need to address.
Yeah. Why is it uneven? Is it that they have come certain distances in their? Is it what makes it uneven? Is it the lack of money or funding or direction, or what is it that makes it?
Well, I think well there are different reasons, I think, but one is, for example, I was visiting a small municipality quite close to the border to Norway, and they have a very big area. I mean, Sweden is quite a large country when you look at the area itself, and it's difficult then to supply everyone with broadband in the way that's needed, for example. So that is one thing, I think. Another is that small municipalities with not so many citizens, they also have, they have to supply the same services as bigger municipalities, but the financing will then be a question. So lack of money, yes. When it comes to national agencies, I think there is also, there has been a lot of focus on the big agencies who has done quite a lot in this, and the smaller ones, they haven't really perhaps always seen the need to continue developing services, making them more digital, because they're so small. So they haven't well well perhaps they haven't understood the need in some reasons. So there are different reasons.
Now we talked to different municipalities, especially in this series when we talk in Global Beehive Talk. One thing that's coming up is a little bit lack of direction, but also that maybe the budget system is not really working for them, not able to invest in long-term solutions and so on. What is your view on that? Is that something that is looked into or something?
Yes, I think that is very true. I think, because what we must understand is that there are a lot of digital solutions that could be used by everyone, because all the municipalities, they are supposed to do the same thing for their citizens. So in that way, they could use the same systems, and we talk a lot about digital infrastructure, and that's not only the broadband connections, it's also the systems running on top of that to make the society work. And I think that here we must look at this also as we look at the physical infrastructure, like railways and roads and so on. There must be, I think, a national perspective on that, and we must make sure that we can transport data information on the digital infrastructure, as well as we looked at transporting on the railways. And I mean, when the railways were built in Sweden, I mean, they were different. Different companies built different railways, and it wasn't until we connected them and made sure that you could run a train across a lot of the railways that you really get the the value. And I think the same thing holds here. So there are a lot of discussions on how can we finance the infrastructure in such a way that it can be used by everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great initiative. But a little bit what I'm coming to was, I think there's a governance infrastructure as well that's been probably designed for 30, 40 years, how a municipality or an agency should be run, which is maybe not suitable for this huge digital transformation, which requires a new kind of leadership and governance to invest where it actually matters the most. And maybe do long-term investments what can be difficult. Is this something that you look into as well? I mean, how to change maybe the governance structure of municipalities and agencies?
What we're trying to do is to get everyone to understand this and the concepts, because and do the changes and I mean start doing the changes themselves, because I mean DIG is quite a small agency, so we're not the one driving all the changes, but we think that this will definitely mean a change to how the public sector is run, and what kind of government agencies we're going to need in the future, because this is all about data and the exchange of data and the use of data in a secure and efficient way to create value.
I mean, I think that's a good answer. I think the first step is probably to build awareness around these questions and build momentum around them to get change. I think the change probably comes within the municipality, maybe not from the outside. If you would give some advice to digital leaders in agencies or municipalities on what to do the next couple of years, or how to address the challenges they have, what would you tell them as concrete advice?
Yeah, being concrete is always the difficulty. I think that, well, first starting with digital leaders, that I think that everyone should be a digital leader. So from that perspective, I think that the first step is to make everyone digital leaders, all the leaders digital leaders, because I think the most important thing here is that the change and the development using digital technology must come from the business side. I mean, from the actual where you create value in the municipalities or in the agencies, and not from the technical side. So make sure that everyone knows what this, are aware of the possibilities, and start co-creating in this. So still going back to awareness, I think very, very important. In Sweden, we talk a lot at the moment about lifelong learning. And I think we talk about lifelong learning and digital literacy for all the citizens. That is one important question. But I think it's also very, very important for everyone working in agencies and municipalities to have, and also to take their own responsibilities for lifelong learning, and make sure that they also understand what is happening in the society, what are the possibilities with technology, what are the threats with technology, so they can, from their perspective and their knowledge, perhaps about nursing or about social security or about city planning, they can use and combine that knowledge and create new services and understanding.
Because we've also seen that the COVID-19 pandemic had accelerated a lot of digitalization in the municipalities and also agencies. How can we actually make that energy continue and to be more to build further on that momentum, do you think?
I think what we've seen is that the digital meetings have increased very much, and that includes the digital meetings with a doctor or physician and so on, and digital shopping and so on. And I think that's a good thing, because a lot of people have understood that it is possible and that we can continue doing that, and it has increased the digital literacy among the citizens. But I think what we haven't done as yet, and what we need to do now, is to really use data to start working in different ways. And I think that we need to continue the development, and we need to take this to the next step. See how can we use data to create new solutions that makes it even easier in different ways to use the services. And So, and also perhaps continue making the digital services more and more easy to use for everyone.
Mm. I think that especially among the older generation that has probably not grown up with these digital services, I think there's a big challenge. I see, for example, Handelsbanken said that they would close down a lot of offices now, and making it more difficult for elderly people to be part of the society without this digital literacy. How do we support those? How do we support the elderly citizens in this digitalization?
Well, I think that the public sector has a big responsibility in this, and the municipalities have in helping their citizens, and also the national agencies and the service offices that they have all around Sweden. They also have a big responsibility here. But after visiting this small municipality close to the border to Norway, I realized that that's not enough.
No.
We need also to start working together, perhaps with the local food store or other companies that are all over Sweden, and see how can they help. I mean in Sweden we have, for example, the local food stores in remote areas. They also sell the wine and so on as what do you say, for Systembolaget. Perhaps they also could help with digital services for the government. I don't know. But that's one way. And the other thing, I think we need to work much more with the organizations in the local municipalities, like where they work, where the citizen started organizations. And give them more possibilities to help. So everyone must help here. This is definitely a team sport.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. And I think that your final word there, saying that digitalization is really a team sport, and that it's about building an ecosystem that can actually support the digitalization of society as a whole, is very, very important. And I totally subscribe to that point. I really want to thank you so much for participating in this Global Beehive Talk. It's been fantastic to hear your views about digitalization of society. Are there any last minute comments that you want to make to the Swedish society about digitalization or so?
I think I'll get back to my lifelong learning. So try something new.
Yeah.
Try something new every day or every week or something.
Yeah.
Try to use the service.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for participating in Global Beehive Talk. It's been a pleasure having you here, and hearing more about the agencies that you're representing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.